Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. This is the fourth of my Christmas dishes and this is turkey gravy. Oh yes. Gravy. So, what is gravy? It's a sauce. It's an Anglo-French thing. It basically would have originally been about stretching out a broth or a stew that was a bit thin to thicken up it, to basically make it go a bit further. You might use some form of starch like bread or crackers. In this case I'm going to use some flour. The vegetables here, and if you watched my roast turkey video you've already seen this. I'm using some of the same footage. This is a Mire poix vegetables: onions, carrots, celery, leek, garlic. The leek must be washed, so that's why it's going in a separate bowl. It's going to be covered with water and left to soak for a little while. I've left the skin on the onions, it doesn't really matter. That's all going to, basically that's going to sit underneath this turkey while it roasts. The fat and juices from the turkey are going to run through and mix with the vegetables, and well, it's just going to be absolutely lovely. That is the turkey neck. The other parts of giblets, the offal, the heart, liver and kidneys, I threw away, but you feel free to use those. Hardy herbs went in the cavity along with the other half of the garlic, and that buttered bird, it goes in the tray, and then obviously got to put the birdie in the oven. Anyway, so after I've taken the birdie out the oven and let it rest for a while, those juices are left in there. So what I want to do is I want to get all the flavour, as much of the flavour from those vegetables as I possibly can into this liquid. So that's why I'm using a potato masher there to really squish and squash them about. That is some plain old flour. Stir that through. That's sort of like making a roux. I put wine in there, that's optional. Those herbs and garlic, that was from the cavity of the turkey. And I can top that up with a bit of water, and feel free to keep topping up with water. This is not an exact recipe. You may well find yours is a bit thick or a bit thin, so if it's a bit thick, add some more water, it'll be fine. If it's a bit thin, you can add a bit of corn flour to it, or I won't tell if you use a little bit of gravy granules. That's between you and me, alright? But there we go, just keep simmering that away gently, making sure the tray doesn't burn until you think you're getting there. At least half an hour or so. And don't worry, your turkey needs at least an hour, maybe 1 to 2 hours to rest anyway, so you've got all the time in the world, really. So when you're happy that you've got all the flavour from those vegetables, it's time to strain. I'm just using my conical strainer. It's nice and tough, so I can really squash those vegetables again. If you want to, you can use a finer mesh, like a chinois or sieve. But I actually, for gravy, I'm not as fussy as I normally am for stocks and sauces. I actually I like those little bits that get through these rather larger holes in this strainer. But again, personal preference, it's entirely up to you. So I'm satisfied. I've got all the juice from the vegetables. Thank you, vegetables, you've done your job. Now reduce this until you're happy with it. You've got to skim off the scum. That is the stuff that floats to the surface. It's not going to do any harm at all. Just, it's a habit. I always like to skim the scum. Be careful not to remove any of the gorgeous liquid underneath. So just keep checking it with a spoon to thickness of your liking. And as like I said earlier, if you want to go but it's a bit thin, thicken it with a bit more starch. It'll be absolutely fine. Or if it's a bit too thick, you can let it out. And that is it. That's my recipe for turkey gravy. Hope you like that one. Pour it in a boat. Stick that on the table. There's one rule we have in my house. We always make too much gravy. Never goes to waste. And there it is, going on that beautiful turkey, stuffing and roast potatoes from my 3 previous videos featuring Christmas. So anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. Thank you again, everyone that's subscribed recently. I'm absolutely made up. It's really taken off now. It's a lovely feeling. I genuinely, from my heart, I really appreciate it. And it's mince pies next. I'll see you then. Bye.